What's up, YouTube? Today we're working on a 2002 Jeep Liberty Sport 4-wheel drive 3.7 liter engine. The project we're going to tackle today is the nasty spare tire rattle that apparently every KJ Liberty has. It's apparently really common and nobody gives you any information on how to fix it. So at first, if you look, you'll notice that there's, with the spare tire off, there's two cracks in the paint, or it could be in the metal, right above the two lower studs that hold the spare tire bracket to the body of the car. So we're going to grab the whiz wheel with 100% carbide bit to try to keep the paint damage localized to the area that I'm working in. But, you know, don't have to worry about destroying the paint over here. It's going to be completely hidden. You'll just cover it up with whatever you have laying around your shop. So first we're going to start off grinding off the paint and just get down in there and see if it's a crack in the metal, or see if it's just a stress point of the paint and it just cracked the paint. Alright, so as you could tell, where I thought the cracks were in the metal was a false alarm. It was just a stress point in the paint itself, and it just looked bad. There's a little bit of rust under it, so you want to try to dig that out anyway. So the next step in the process is going to be to look inside the door and see what sort of access we have to those lower studs and what sort of bracing they use from the factory. Alright, so we have the tailgate open, we have the trim panel off, and we're looking inside, and we can get a good look at the upper studs, but the lower studs are hidden by a piece of sheet metal bracing that's inside the door. So unless you're going to blast it open with a plasma cutter or a grinder wheel, you really can't see anything from the inside. So basically the next step here, you can kind of eyeball how the top and bottom braces look. It's just a piece of metal that's in there with the threading for the studs in there, and you could see a few tack welds, but nothing that makes it look like it's going to stay there forever. So we're going to go back out to the outside, we're going to punch some holes in it, and then we're going to put new tack welds to mate the brace to the outer steel shell of the door itself. Alright, so now we're back out to the outside. These are the lower studs again. We're going to be just punching a couple holes in it. I'm going to try to blast through this as fast as I can just to save some time on the video. But by looking at how the upper brace was from the last shot, you can kind of tell where you want to drill just by the way the outer door skin's flexing. You could tell by just the shadows and the shape of the metal that you could see the imprint of the brace behind it. So we're going to punch I'm going to punch a few holes above each stud, and that's where the noise is coming from, between the brace and the outer metal itself. So you're going to drill a couple holes, but you're not going to drill through the brace in the back. You just want to drill through the outer layer of sheet metal itself, and then we'll come back in with the welder. So now you see we have 3 drill holes above each stud, and it's just deep enough to go through the outer shell of the door skin, but not deep enough to go too far into the brace itself. Now we're going to grab the welder here, and we're going to do something that a lot of welders are really frowned upon. But you're welding a thick piece of metal to a thin piece of metal, just to keep it from wiggling around and making noise inside there. So you're going to want to turn your welder up to maybe 30% more than what you would weld on, just thin sheet metal, the outer door skin. And we're going to start the weld. It's going to be directly in the center. You don't want to start welding to the edge of the door skin itself. You want to start the arc deep on the brace itself, and then work your way out. Just build it up, and then it's going to be a really solid tack weld. But this is against anything any welder will ever tell you. But to make it work properly, you're going to have to bend the rules a little bit here. So we're gonna start in here deep, and we're gonna start it in there. Get some sparks flying in here. Let it cool off a little bit. Keep the air moving. Any of you TIG welder guys out there, you'll know that there's post flow and all that other junk you got to learn. But basically, you're gonna be keeping the gas on to keep it cool, or you're gonna start burning paint. Paint's gonna burn regardless, because I didn't grind it all off. but I'm just going to let it burn out where I don't need it. Got plenty of ventilation in the shop, so that's something you're going to have to look out for. But basically, you're going to start the arc in the center, build it out, and you're going to seal the outer door skin with a big lump of weld underneath the door skin between the brace and the skin. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but don't worry about trying to get a pretty weld. It's going to pretty much be ugly, and you want to try not to burn through the outer layer of sheet metal as much as possible, but you still want some really good penetration into that thick support bar. So don't really worry about, you know, how it looks. You're going to come back in with a grinder later, so leave a little bit of meat hanging out of the upper skin layer of the door skin, and you're going to go back in, clean it up, put some primer and some paint on it so it's not going to rust in the future, and try to get it as clean as possible. So right here, we're just going to stop. We're going to bolt the tire back on, take it for a test drive, see if the repair was fixed. So now one last test before you go on a test drive, just to verify your repair. Do the super scientific hammer fist test. Then you're going to want to walk over, open and shut the door a few times, make sure you just verify your repair. It's the best way to test. You know, if you still hear a sound, you're going to hear it when you test drive it. So if you don't hear anything, go for a test drive. Then you come back, grind off your welds, cover it with some paint, and you're good to go. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out at all. I just hope it makes it out to you before you go to the dealership and spend $1 million on replacing the tailgate or clawing your ears out because you can't stand the noise anymore.